Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Asteroids. Well, and simultaneously you've got Sleuth there in an arcade venue playing Asteroids. Now I'm old enough to have played in arcade venues, even old enough to have owned an Atari where, I got to own Asteroids and play it on there. I'm not old enough though to have played Asteroids on arcade. So I missed out at least on that game, in that sense, but I think everything else, yeah, I would say tick the box. But we know Sleuth can seem to travel through time. We've seen him travel through time, dimensions, galaxies, so it doesn't surprise me that he's going back in time to just have a bit of fun on the arcade. Anyhow, today's puzzle I just couldn't pass up, and rather than sort of describe it to you, I'm just going to bring it up and put it up on the screen. So whenever I'm trying to select puzzles, I always look for, like fantastic stories, interesting things. And here is one from Blobz. And I didn't realize that he's got a whole series of this where it is just Asteroids, the game, as you can see. You've got an asteroid here in green, I guess like little green men. You've got asteroids written out and sort of drawn out in blue. You can see that the aliens are actually shooting at us with these kind of black laser dots. You can see our ship here that we're going to have to rescue somehow, shooting with white dots. And it's just absolutely fantastic. Amazing work, Blobz. Now, the question is, what does it all mean in terms of rule sets? So, first rule is normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. That's fairly standard. I think it's going to take a little bit of interpretation of where these lines are, but I think we're going to manage it. So, adjacent digits along the green flying saucer differ by at least 5. So, that's the green saucer. And essentially, if this cell here was a 2, these 3 cells, that's the way I'm interpreting it anyway, have to be 5 or more away. So that would be 7, 8, or 9, for example. Yep, that looks good to me, and I'm just going to read it as essentially a single 3-cell German whisper line. Then we have digits on the pink ship form a non-repeating consecutive sequence in any order. So again, I'm going to interpret this as 1, 2, 3, 4 cells. So if you imagine that this cell here is a 2, then these 3 cells would either have to be 1, 3, 4, and it could literally be in any order, so it doesn't have to be, it could be 1, 4, 3, for example. So clearly it doesn't have to be consecutive, but on aggregate they have to be 4 consecutive digits. It doesn't have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, it could be a 5, for example, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I couldn't do is have 2, 3, 4, 6, because clearly that is no longer consecutive. It's also non-repeating, so I couldn't have another 2 in here. It may look that it's consecutive, but clearly with the repeating digit that breaks the rule as well. Right. White missiles separate consecutive digits. So this 2 here, this would be, if it's a consecutive digit, it would have to be 1 or 3, for example, so that it is only 1 away from this 2. Then we have black missiles separate the digits where one is double the other. So for example, let's go with this. If this was an 8, this would have to be 4 to make sure that one cell is double the other. It doesn't say anything about kind of negative constraints, so I'm going to assume it does not apply. Then we have box borders divide the blue asteroids into line segments with the same sum. So how are we going to do this one? Let's pick this one here. So if this cell was 5 and this cell, oh, that's a terrible example, that cell is 5, that cell is 6, I'm going to disable check pencil marks from this morning. Hopefully we're not going to need it today. These 2 cells on this line segment add up to 13. And therefore these 3 cells on this line segment will also have to add up to 13. And any 3 digits that would allow you to do so will be absolutely fine. So we could do 11. So 2, 3, 6, for example. These 3 cells adding up to 11. And that was a terrible example. Let's try that. That's better. These are adding up to 11. These are adding up to 11. We're good to go in terms of region sum lines. And obviously, you're going to have to sort of pay very close attention. These 2 cells are the same as these 2 cells, is the same as this one cell, etc., etc. given they're not quite sort of the normal straight lines that we're used to. Right, last but not least, digits in cages sum to the given total. So if this cell here was an 8, for example, this cell would have to be a 7 to make sure that they do add up to 15, and these two cells add up to 13. The top left corner is the number that's given. Right, that's all the rules for today. So for some of you, if you feel like traveling down memory lane and giving Asteroids a go, or at least this Sudoku, link will be in the description down below. And for, I guess, a decent number of you as well, this is not quite memory lane, but you should still give this game a go. Link as always down below. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And you know that my favorite place to start is black crop dots. So I'm looking at box 5. So I'm going to interpret it as these two cells are separated by a black dot, these two, and these two. I know that's kind of shooting at a diagonal, but it's very obvious where the black dot is between the two cells. Now, when you have 4 cells that are all unique, this could only be 2, 4, and 1, 8 on the extremities. That part is kind of fairly obvious. Just a quick refresher of black crop dots. They could be one, kind of a 1-2 pair. Actually, no, let me do it this way. You could be powers of 2, 1, 2, 4, 8. They could be 3 or 6. And they can never be 5, 7, and 9. Because if you try and put any of these digits on there, the double is too big. It's bigger than, it's 10 or bigger. And the half is clearly being an odd number, not even an integer. So from the options that we have for 1, 2, 4, and 8, they're the only ones that are 4 cells that are unique. 3, 6, half of 3 would be 1.5, doesn't work. Double of 6 would be 12, that also doesn't work. There are only 2 of them. So 1, 2, 4, 8, clearly 2, 4 are in the middle, the 1, 8 are on the sides. Then we have this white crop dots I can see in box 5. And they have to be consecutive. And the remaining digits that I have are 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Which of these 5 cells, 5 digits, which 3 of these 5 digits are consecutive is clearly the 5, 6, 7. That's a 6, that's our first digit in under 2 minutes. Which is not bad going for a 2-star difficulty rated puzzle, and this is 3 or 9. Remember, this is sort of either ascending or descending, so it'll be 7, 6, 5, so this would have to be 4, or it's 5, 6, 7, this would have to be 8. 1, 8, and then another black crop dot, that is 2, 4. Therefore, this is 7, 8, or 9, to be 5 or more away. If this is a minimum of 2, 2 plus 5 is 7. And this could be anything, I guess, depending on whether this is 8 or 9. Right, I say anything. The biggest it can be, of course, is a low digit. German whisper lines oscillate between low and high, as is the case here. I think I can get another digit. This cell, no, not this cell, this cell. Right, so these 2 cells, they're on the region sum line on this asteroid. And this is what they're meant to add up to, a single digit. Now, if I use a 9, I'm really going to struggle. Even with a 2, that's 11. I'm not going to be able to write that in. So that has to be the 3. This has to be the 9. This is now 5 or 7 in here. Maybe same trick in there. Yes, same trick for this region sum line. So I'll show it to you. If this is 8, well, the black crop dot says this is 4. If this is 4, this is 9. Because essentially that's the only digit that's 5 or more away from 4. Now take a look at this region sum line that needs to add up to 17. And in 2 cells that has to be 9, 8, and I'm not allowed a 9. So that's essentially nonsense. This has to be a 1, that's 2, that's 2, that's 4, that's 8. That tells me that this region sum line adds up to 5. So that's 5. So each of these now 2 cell region sum lines are also adding up to 5. 2 in here, that's not a 2. This is not 2 or 4, it would have to be 1 or 3. And this would have to be 2 or 4. And it's clearly not the 2. 2 ways of doing 5, of course. 1, 4, 2, 3. The fact that this is not the even digit is essentially 1, 3. And this is the even digit to make it up to 5. 2 gives me 4, gives me 1. Also removes a 1 from here. And then to get to 5, I could do, well, I've got 1 and 2, so the higher digit in here is 3, 4, and this is the 1 or 2. So far, going surprisingly well. I haven't really thought about the cages, and I think I should. So 15 in 2 cells is either 6, 9 or 7, 8. 13 in 2 cells is either 4, 9, that's a bad way of writing it, 4, 9, 5, 8, or 6, 7. Now you can immediately see 6, 7 doesn't work because essentially it removes 6, 9 and 7, 8 from this 15. So that is not an option. So this is either 4, 9 or 5, 8. And this is 6, 9, 7, 8. This is no longer a 7 because this is at least a 3. 7 is only 4 digits away from 3, so that would break this green saucer. So that is 8 or 9. Not sure what's next. Let me think about this. This 8, 9. So essentially there's a 6, 7 with an 8, 9 in here. This will be the other 8, 9. And as a result, this will be the other 8, 9. And then one of these, this 8, 9, whichever it is in here, is on these 2 cells. The fact that we have a 3, 4 pair here is also quite suspicious. There, got it. Let me show you. If this is 4 and this is 1, Sudoku says, well, if you want 4 and 1 in row 1, they're both going to have to be in here, where they can't be because they'd have to both be in this cell. 4 and 1 in 2 cells are never going to add up to 15. So I think that forces this to be 2, this to be 3, that's to be 4, which forces this to be 9, which is now no longer 6, 9, and therefore not 5, 8. This is 4, 9, and we're making progress. And you can see the 9s, and the 9s are indeed, and actually this 9, that puts a 9 in here. This cell is, what, 1, 2, it could be 3, it's not 4, could be 5, could be 6, but it's not 7, 8, or 9. It's quite restricted. I was hoping it was more restricted looking at it. 8, you can see is none of these cells and not this cell because of this 8. That's an 8. The rest of this is 3, 5, 6. That is not a 6. That is not a 3 just because of this 6 and 3. These 3 cells, they're going to add up to something that I'm going to have to be able to sum up in here. And actually, the 2s are giving me a 2 in here. This is a 1. These 2 cells are going to have to add up to the same sum as whatever this is, which could be 11, 13, or 14. Let me do a bit more Sudoku to tidy up. If I can, I know what this digit is, for example. That's 7, which gives me 5, which gives me 7, which gives me a 4. We'll come back to that in a second. Surely I can do better than that. 1 is clearly in here. So is 3. And then a loose 5, 6. So 1, 3, 5, 6. And this is 5, 6. And then another 5, 6. And a 7. And then another 5, 6. And an 8. Far more pencil marks than I normally do. But I think in this particular case it's helpful. Because the maximum I can make this is 6, 3, and 2. Remember, I can't have 6, 5. So 6, 3, and 2, that's 11. That's a 3. And this is indeed 3, 6, which gives me 5, which gives me 1, which also ties up. I didn't mean to do that. 6, 7, I meant to remove just the corners. I removed the wrong corner, the wrong digit. Yeah, there you go. That 3 gave me a 5 and a 6. And so far, so well. These two cells add up to 10. It's fairly restricted. So I could do 4, 6, because, 1, 2, 3 on this cell is gone. I can't do 6, 4. If that's a 6, that would be 4, and I can't do that. I could do 7, 3. I can't do 8, 2 because of this 2, so no 2s are allowed in here. And I can't do 9, so this has got a 3, 6 pair. I don't know how constructors do some of this incredible stuff. Like, how do you design a puzzle so that you end up with a 3, 6 pair that you'll probably use in the solve later? Just phenomenal. 6, 7, 8. This is 6, 7. Sorry, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, I may as well use actually this one in particular, given digit that I've basically ignored. So the rest of this column is 4, 5, 6. That is not a 5. Right. If this is not a 5, that's 4, 6. They add up to 10. I would need a second 5 in here. So that's not going to work. This has to be the 5. And therefore, this is going to be the same digit as whatever's in here to make sure they come up to the same total. And we know, because of this pair we spotted earlier, that this is not a 6. That's a 4. That's a 7. That's a 3. That's a 6. That's a 3. Therefore, this has to be a 4 to get to the same total of 9 on both asteroid halves. Here's a sentence you didn't think you'd say when playing Sudoku. This is 3, 7, 8. And this is 1, 2, 9. I mean, I really should use it. So let's think about this Remban. So the obvious one would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm trying to see if I could do 4, 5, 6, 7. No, because this cannot be 5, 6, 7. Could I do 4, 5, 6, and a 3? No, because that would put a 6, a 5, a 3, and then what would this black crop dot be? So a long way of saying is I can't reach 6 here. I could still go up, as in this could still be a 5. So I could do 2, 3, 4. And then, of course, I could do 1, 2, 3. Not a 3 here anyway. Like, Sleuth, come on, 5, literally there in the box. 1, 2, 3. So this clearly can't be a 1, otherwise this would be a 2. And then I would have to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 cells. That's not 1. That could be 2, that could be 3. No, it can't be 2 because there are 4 staring at both of these cells. So that is a 3, that is a 6. That is not a 3, that's a 1, 2 pair. This 6 gives me 8, gives me 6. I don't think they give me anything else today. Not sure they do. That was a long-winded way of doing it. What else did I have in here? Let me just think about this. So 3 is in one of 2 cells. In fact, 3, just wake up. Sleuth is just there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is also forced, which puts the 7, 8, 9 down here. Come back to that in a bit. This is not 8 or 9. 8 and 9 are up there. In fact, 8 is neither of these cells. That's 8, that's 9, that's 7. Look at me doing Sudoku. I mean, just like... This is 4, 6, I think. And that 4 gives me another 4 and a 6. I have another 1, 2, and a 5. That's the 5 because of this 5. That's the 2, that's the 1, that's the 2. These 3 cells are known. They are 1, 8, 9, I'm going to say. Not 1, not 9. In fact, the rest of this column is 1, 8. This 7 has given me more indeed, 5, 7, and this 9 has given me more indeed, 4, 9. They're not resolved yet, I don't think. This cell is just known. How about do that one? Sleuth, that's 5. Yeah. And then these are 1, 2, I'm not going to pencil mark that, 1, 2, 4. I am going to pencil mark it. Sorry, that's a 4. That's 1, 2. Right, region sum line. So this is a minimum of 15. It's 15, 16, or 17. Let me think about this. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, 1, 2, and an 8 is going to get nowhere near these totals. So there has to be a 9 in here. 9 is on there. Now, if I put 9 with an 8, I've broken it because I have another digit, and I can't get to anything higher than 2 cells, so that can't be an 8. 9, 7, and 1 work if this is 9, 8. 9, 2, and 3 is too small. That's a 7. And therefore this can't be a 2. This is 197 that adds up to 17. And therefore this is 17, and this is another 7. Lovely. 1, 9 in here gave me a 2, a 1, a 2. And that 3 resolved that 8 and 3 if I paid attention. And I've got 1, 8, 9 triplet. So I have 2 digits I should just be able to place. 2 and 3. Yep, 2, 3. Have another of the 1, 8, 9s and a 7. I don't know where they go. Okay. Hang on, let's do this one instead. We know what these 2 cells are. This is 6 and 9, I'm going to say. And that's 6. And that's 9. And that's not 9. And that's a 1, 8 pair. And that's a 9. Right, so we're adding up to 14. Huh. I think this has to be an 8, and this has to be... What? Have I broken it, like at the last stretch? This is 15. So I have in here 187. And if this is 1, that would make it 16. Sorry, this is 8, this is 7. Wait, yeah. So I'm adding up to 23. Yeah. So 9 was 6, 7. So 9 plus 13. And here 9 plus 13. That works. That's 8. That's 7. That is not the 7, but I mean, it doesn't matter. That's 8. That's 1. That's 8. That's 1. That's 7. That's 8. And that keeps going. That 1 gives me 9, 9, 8, 9. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 1 for the finish. That's a stunning puzzle, Blobz. It is a 2-star difficulty rating. Not sure I agree with that difficulty, but I mean, it doesn't stop it from being an absolutely extraordinary puzzle. Just the construction to put like somehow a 4-6 pair, whatever it was, again, 3-6 pair, 3-6 pair, to give you the 4, the drawing is just all absolutely phenomenal. Hope that you guys enjoyed this puzzle. I think it's a fantastic finish for the weekend, and hope to see you back for the next video. Bye-bye for now.